Welcome back to Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Trilogy. We're playing Rise from the Ashes. We are halfway through our second day of court. And I think we've proven that the police evidence room murder didn't really happen. But let's go. The court will now reconvene for the trial of Miss Lana Skye. Emma didn't come back. Oh, she ran away crying because she realized, oh, that was the thing that happened at the end of the last one. So we were learning about this other case, SL9. We still don't know much about it, but we did find out that SL9, she is somehow related to SL9. She is mentioned as a witness. Which is... witnesses. Lana Skye, Emma Skye. And she didn't realize that SL9 was known as the Joe Dark killings. And now she knows that it's the same thing. She's like run off crying, and we don't know why. Yeah. So obviously, and everyone related to this case seems to be related to that case for some reason. Anyways, allow me to call the next witness to the stand. The officer in charge of guarding the evidence room on the day of the crime. Witness, please state your name and occupation. Me, partner? Oh, I'm just a man, same as you, wandering the trials of civilization. Occasionally helping the elderly cross intersections when needed. Yes, we get it. Oh, I know. You're a patrolman. As for my name, if you listen hard enough, you can hear the howling wind calling it out. To be exact, it's Jake Marshall, Your Honor. Howling wind? I've never heard Edgeworth described that way before. Now, Mr. Marshall, let me ask you something. You were in charge of guarding the evidence room on the day the crime took place. Is this correct? According to the papers, partner. What do you mean? A desperado's soul is as boundless as the desert sands. No paper can sum it up. Maybe it's best we get on with this quickly. Please share with us your testimony of the day of the crime. In plain old English. Day of the crime. My job was to keep a wary eye on the bone orchard. They said I was supposed to make rounds 3 times a day, but that ain't my style. Besides, the room's protected by 2 security systems anyway. If I remember right, I was at a street-side saloon at the time it went down. I'm just an innocent traveling man, so if you're out of ammo, it's time I hit the trail. Can't say I particularly care for your attitude. Can't say I care for your beard, but you don't see me complaining. Wait a minute. What do you mean by 2 security systems? I mean the security cameras and the ID card reader. I reckon every cowpoke like you knows about those. Yes, well, what about the fingerprint-activated locks on the evidence lockers? Fingerprint-activated locks? What kind of newfangled doohickeys are those? Those? What's that? He's not being very helpful. He's not good with machines or with following orders. Everyone's got their weaknesses now, don't they, Mr. Prosecutor? Well, this one seems like trouble. Okay, Mr. Wright, he's all yours. My job was to keep a wary eye on that bone orchard. How exactly did you keep an eye on the evidence room? I just made sure nothing moved in the security camera monitor. That room's so still. Even time dies in there. I was just a caretaker who interred the recordings. You interred them? Videos are nothing on that useful. When the time would come, I'd erase the tape. If nothing unusual is recorded, tapes are to be erased every 6 hours. Each time I'd erase a tape, it felt like I was erasing a part of my life. This guy has a flair for the dramatic, but it isn't going to do him any good. So in actuality, you don't physically enter the evidence room. They said I was supposed to make rounds 3 times... Wait, hang on. Okay. They said I was supposed to make rounds 3 times a day, but that ain't my style. His fingerprints were in the evidence room, right? So if that comes up in the testimony, we can... I'm pretty sure that's a contradiction. But you made your rounds on the day of the crime, right? Ain't you heard a word I said, partner? I told you that ain't my style. I'm afraid I don't understand. No, Desperado, I know. Let's rules. Let me try that again. No, Desperado, I know. Let's rules get in his way. No Desperados, I know. Join the police force. So, Officer Marshall, on the day of the crime, just between you and me, I didn't set foot in the evidence room that day. There was a rubber glove stuck to the victim's locker. Do you know anything about that? Sorry, partner. Can't say I do. Haven't been in that crypt in weeks. This guy's just useless at his job. That's what I'm taking away from this. How does this guy avoid being fired? Exactly. Besides, the room's protected by 2 security systems anyway. You used to be a detective, so you've used the evidence room in the past, correct? Of course. Back in the day, my locker was a gold mine of evidence. And yet you didn't know about the fingerprint locking mechanism? Sorry, partner. I ain't good with machines. I couldn't even tell you how a bike works. That's quite incredible. The sensors on the locker handles cannot be seen. It's well known that some detectives are unaware of their presence. Now that he mentions it, Detective Gumshoe does something like that too. At any rate, it doesn't seem that this is relevant to the crime. Can you tell us what you were doing when the crime took place? If I remember right, I was at a street-side saloon the time it went down. What were you doing in a place like that? I was eating spaghetti. Not even Angel steak lunches can beat that parlor's vongole sepia pasta. Did I say that right? Vongole? Do you mean to tell us you abandoned your police duties to eat some noodles? Not no desperados eat tacos, partner. That's not what I meant. I hope this has at least taught you a lesson. That's strange. This is usually where Edgeworth says, did you not want to raise this year? I'm just an innocent traveling man, so if you're out of ammo, it's time I hit the trail. Out of ammo? Excuse me. Out of ammo, Officer Marshall? That's right, partner. Or as you'd call it, evidence. If you plan to pin me to this crime, then you better draw. Otherwise, you're just wasting my time. My steel horse is waiting to carry me back west into the sunset. One thing seems clear. Despite being responsible for guarding the evidence room, the witness doesn't appear to have seen anything. Texans don't take orders from anyone. Everyone knows that. Apparently your superiors don't. Okay, I have a trump card up my sleeve, so I best keep my cool. Before I use it though, I'd better up the ante. So he hasn't added anything to what he's saying. I think the trump card is his fingerprints, right? Right, nothing to do with that. I don't think it's anything to do with the video. That wasn't it, was it? Fragments found in the crime scene and pieces missing. Don't think it's that either. Another glove, no. Current document dated can only be submitted to Chief of Police. Okay, the ID report, that hasn't really come up yet. Evidence from floor plans. It's got the blood splatters on. I'm sure there was a bloody handprint of Marshall's. Maybe that's not recorded in the evidence and we're just supposed to remember it. It has been wiped. It must have been this one. Supposed to make things. Besides, we protect my excuses. Right, I was at streets and slings went down. Just an innocent traveling man. So if you out ammo, it's time to hit the trail. The streets and saloon the time it went down. He said he doesn't go into the room, but his handprint was in the room. I don't think he says in his testimony he never went in though. My job is to keep a wary eye on it. What if I press this again? No, we've already got all of this. So in actuality, I don't physically enter the evidence room. Just to make rounds 3 times a day, that ain't my style. The room is protected by 2 security systems anyway. So the security camera, evidence locker. What were the 2 security systems again? Alright, he doesn't know about the fingerprint locking. It's gotta be this one, right? He's saying he was nowhere near where the crime took place. I'm gonna present the bloody handprint here and see if that works. It did work. Officer Marshall, doesn't it strike you as odd? That is, you being called in to testify like this? After all, you weren't in the security room at the time of the crime. And yet you dragged me down here. Explain yourself, partner. It's quite simple. You left a very large trail at the scene. Sorry, you left a very large trail behind at the scene. Or to be exact, a handprint. Listen real good, partner. Like I said, I'm the caretaker of that crypt. I pay my respects, that is, make my rounds about once a month. It's only natural my fingerprints would be in there. I only wish it were, officer. But you see, your fingerprints were covered in blood. Witness, what is the meaning of this? Your blood-stained fingerprints were at the crime scene? The blood was wiped away, however, a luminal test clearly revealed this. Well, Officer Marshall. It seems to me there ain't a person in this room with a head on his shoulders. I take it you have an explanation then, Officer Marshall. About the blood-stained fingerprints. Very well, you may begin your testimony about your fingerprints. Found at the scene of the crime. Like I said, it's only natural for my fingerprints to be in that evidence room. One of them just happened to be at the same place as the bloodstained handprint. The murderer touched the lock where my fingerprint was by chance. Murderer touched the lock where my fingerprint was by chance. The bloodstain and the fingerprint are completely unrelated. Or didn't you know the murderer was wearing gloves? See, I had nothing to do with it. The witness's explanation appears valid. Although there's room for doubt. Life wouldn't be fun without any doubt, partner. Pretty sure this is the video again. The defense may now cross-examine the witness. This guy's hiding something, I can feel it. Now's my chance to prove it. Because I'm pretty sure that the killer accesses a locker right at the end of the video. Or not the killer, but someone does, right? The murderer touched the locker where my fingerprint was by chance. I think it's this, if I present the video. No, it's not. Okay, I guess I'm going to stop pressing instead then. I took a risk, it didn't pay off! Wait, was he wearing gloves? Oops, I didn't mean to press that. Oh well. How do you know that? I may be a loner, but I'll still do my job. I keep up on the reports. There was a bloodstain at the scene, thought to be left by the murderer. That's right. It was found on Detective Gumshoe's locker. However, no fingerprints were detected on that handprint. Oh yeah, I think we tried that too. So that would mean the murderer wearing gloves happened to place their hand on top of Officer Marshall's fingerprint. That's the only logical conclusion. Can't square out of this one. Gotta find something. Something decisive to tie Officer Marshall to this crime. Yeah, all I wanted to do was look at the video. He's not wearing gloves. So the victim, quote-unquote victim, is not wearing gloves. I don't think... Wait. It doesn't look like Meekins is wearing gloves either. Is anyone wearing gloves in this video? And then look at that locker, second on the left at the top there. There's nothing sticking out of it. Oh, it's the far left one rather. And now there is something sticking out of it. Ah, it's not that one either. Right, okay, I'm actually going to press everything now. The risks aren't paying off. Okay. That's because you, how did you put it? Pay your respects once a month. Yeah, that's right. That and one more thing. That locker happens to be mine. What? What do you mean? I mean what I said. That's the locker I used when I was a detective. The locker I still use. Oh, that's in there now, though, is a heap of broken dreams. I see. It'd be strange if my prints weren't all over that locker. Apparently his fingerprint data was never removed from that locker's programming. He must have been using the fingerprint lock all this time without ever knowing it. Ah! Well, that gained us something. We updated some evidence there. Are you starting to get the picture, partner? The picture? This seal of blood. In the desert, it's just food for the buzzards. There's only one reality, and that's... this. Security tape. So long as my trail isn't in there, you can't say otherwise. This isn't getting us anywhere, Mr. Wright. Please consider carefully where you're going with this cross-examination. Yes, Your Honor. Now then, continue your testimony, Officer Marshall. Oh, this is new. Too bad it wasn't me in that video, right, partner? Yeah, well, you opened the locker, so it is you. And this time the tape is gonna work, right? Good! Oh no. Okay, I'm gonna press it. Fine, I'll press you. Fine. What do you mean by that? You want to time into this crime, isn't that right, partner? If so, that video is the only direct evidence you have. That video is next to useless. It's full of blind spots. Blind spots? Places you can't see. The camera's panning back and forth. The floor isn't shown. If someone was familiar with the camera's position, they could leave the room without being caught on tape. As the Bruce Goodman obviously does, right? We don't have time for your speculations, Mr. Wright. Well, Mr. Wright, if you can show us evidence in this video that indicates Officer Marshall was present, please do so now. Yeah, we can. Very well. This is why I tried to present this before. Allow me to point out your mistake, Officer Marshall. Tread carefully, Mr. Wright, or you might wind up being the one making the mistake. Now, let's have another look at the video. Show us this incriminating evidence of something, something, something. It's right at the end of the video. Doop doop dee doop doop deep doop 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 deep doop deep doop 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 doop. Bringing our attention back to the security camera is a mistake I'm afraid you'll not soon forget, Officer Marshall. These days are short. The days are short in Texas, and so are our tempers. Could you sum up what you have to say in 8 words or less? Very well. You can clearly be seen in this video. Exactly 8 words. Not bad, partner. The key lies in a certain locker shown in the video. That locker with the white cloth sticking... Oh, that locker with the white cloth sticking out. That was the witnesses, I believe. Now then, let's rewind the video a bit. Oh, the white cloth. It's gone. What's the meaning of this, Officer Marshall? When the crime took place, the white cloth wasn't there. Then it suddenly appeared. There's only one explanation. Officer Marshall, you were in the evidence room at the time of the crime. What's more, you opened your locker when the camera was turned away. Order, order. It would seem that's the only... Hold your horses. Sorry, partner, but you got the wrong man. So what if my locker was opened? That doesn't mean I'm the one who opened it. The murderer needed to hide something, so he opened a locker and stuck it in. It's not my fault he happened to choose mine. Oh, Marshall. Why's everyone staring at me like I'm a wanted man? He doesn't get it, does he? This guy isn't just playing dumb. He really doesn't know. I hate to raid on your parade, but you're the only person who can open that particular locker. Oh yeah, I call your bluff. You say I opened that locker, now prove it. But, it's just the locker, mate. Fingerprint sensor, we were just talking about this. We talked about this earlier today. The lockers can only be opened by the detectives they belong to. What kind of crazy talk is this? Well, Detective Gumshoe did mention something about this. In any case, the locks aren't that obvious. There are even some people on the force that don't know about the fingerprint locks. So, Sheriff, what do you have to say? In 8 words or less. I only got 1 word for you, partner. No! Order, order, order! Witness, explain yourself! If this is a joke, it's the worst I've ever heard. I assure you this is no joke, Officer Marshall. Now then, please tell us what you were doing in the evidence room at the time of the crime. Oh, Ole! Please answer the question! What is he now, a bullfighter? That's alright, Officer Marshall. I believe we can figure the rest out from here. We can? Have a look at these floor plans. There is no place for someone to hide in the evidence room. Yet Officer Meekins didn't see Officer Marshall. If that's so, then where was the witness? It seems Mr. Wright has an answer. That's right. The only possible conclusion. Oh, well then, let's hear it. Where was Officer Marshall at the time of the crime? He was the victim, right?
Take that!
Officer Marshall was standing right here. There? But that's where the victim, Detective Goodman was. Correct. Unless the man wasn't Detective Goodman. I believe the victim in the video is Officer Marshall. It was you dressed up like Detective Goodman.
Objection!
But that's preposterous. Officer Meekins witnessed the detective at the crime scene. Once he saw the man's face, he'd know for sure. May I point out, though, that Officer Meekins did not know Detective Goodman. He also testified about the man's reaction when confronted. When I entered the evidence room, I asked him to show his card now, sir. Yes, and how did Detective Goodman respond? He suddenly pulled a knife out on me! Something about the officer's story puzzled me. If the man had his ID card, why didn't he just show it? Yes, he would have needed it to enter the evidence room, so he must have been carrying it. The answer is simple. He couldn't show it. As you can see, Detective Goodman's picture is on his ID card. Oh, I get it. If he showed that, his cover would have been blown. Officer Meekins would have realized the man wasn't Detective Goodman. Do you have anything to say to this, Officer Marshall? You got quite an imagination, partner. We got a term for that. It's called circumstantial evidence. Circumstantial evidence? He's still denying it. You're gonna have to do better than that to break a detective. Unless you have hard evidence proving I was dressed up as the victim? I can't say I particularly care for your uncooperative disposition. I can't say I care for your beard, but you don't see me complaining. Well, Mr. Wright, do you have any evidence proving beyond a shadow of a doubt that Officer Marshall dressed up as the victim? Well, who am I kidding? I don't have anything like that. I can see the fear in your eyes, partner. Seems you're the one who couldn't take the desert heat. This can't be happening. It's so obvious he's the one. What can I do? It looks like your lack of experience has finally been exposed. I'll pass on to you what someone told me when I was just starting out. When you've run into a wall with no place to go, return to the basics. The basics? For me, that would be what Mia used to tell me. Phoenix, try thinking outside of the box. I shouldn't look for proof that Officer Marshall was in disguise. But rather, I should look for evidence that came about because he was in disguise. Why do you think this locker was opened in the first place? What do you mean? There's no reason for Officer Marshall to open his locker at the time of the crime. Yet he did, despite the chance it might be discovered later as it has been. Which means he didn't originally plan to open his locker. According to the defense's argument, Officer Jake Marshall dressed up as Detective Goodman at the time of the crime. Then, after the crime was committed, he opened his own locker for some unknown reason. The fact that a white cloth is sticking out of the locker seems to indicate that he opened it in order to put the cloth inside. So what exactly is this piece of cloth? Perhaps the video is the key to all of our unanswered questions. I don't have evidence, so this video is my only shot. Very well, let's take yet another look at the security tape. After committing the crime, the witness opened the locker to put away the white cloth. Please show us why the witness had to open his locker. Why he had to open his locker? So where is this cloth? Where did it come from? I don't think it's the glove, because we've got that. Something unexpected happened during this fight. Could it be the blood on his shoulder? Is it ever the coat? Go back one frame at a time? Okay. I'm gonna point at the blood on his shoulder and go with that.
Take that!
For some reason, you disguised yourself as Detective Goodman and entered the evidence room, though I don't know to what end yet. Yet. However, something unexpected happened. Officer Meekins barged in on you. When asked to show your ID card, you pulled a knife on him. However, Officer Meekins panicked, and the white coat you were wearing was soiled with blood. A bloody white coat? You couldn't just walk out like that, so you hid the coat in your locker. Not bad, partner.